Hi, everyone. Welcome to Kimono Therapy, a ritual to process life. So, this is going to be a series of videos of tools for self-development and growth. Things that have helped me throughout my life and has created my business, Kimono Therapy. And I'm going to share with you a weekly tool that can help you to create a ritual in your life to create some lasting change. So, it took me a while to decide what's the best video to start with. And because I have so many tools that I use and things that have helped me in life that I want to share, but I had to find one to start basic. And it took me a while, but I got the basic that I want to share with you. And the question that I want to ask you is, what story are you telling yourself? What story have you been telling yourself in life? You may have never asked yourself this question. And the reason why I say that is because we have a tendency to live unconsciously and on autopilot. And we go through our days, we have a busy life, and we don't take some time to really ask ourselves specific questions if things aren't going well in our life. And something that I want to share here that I think is very important is our state of mind. If we don't have a positive, clear state of mind, then things don't necessarily go well in our life. And it's very important to focus on our state of mind. This is something that I've learned. For a period of time in my life, I did not have a positive state of mind. I had a negative state of mind. It's like a continual feedback loop. But eventually I learned some tools when I went to school for psychotherapy. And this was the biggest thing that started my journey and changed my life. And that is, what is the story that you have been telling yourself? So I remember going into a therapy session and my therapist listened to what I had to say on multiple sessions, kind of repeating the same feedback loop. And she said to me, "So what's the story you're telling yourself?" And I said, "What do you mean?" And she said, "Well, we all tell ourselves a story about our life, kind of subconsciously." I'm like, okay. So my homework for that night was, what's the story that I've been telling myself? And I'll tell you, I had to dig. But when I did dig, here's what I learned about myself. I've had a hard life. That was the story I had been telling myself my whole life. I was adopted. I was in foster care. I was raised in an abusive family. I had to seek therapy. I had not countless, but I had failed relationships in my past, and I've had to work hard my whole life. Like every single job that I've had in my life has been physically laborious because I had this subconscious belief that I have a hard life. So when I sat down and I journaled all that and I came to that epiphany, and it took me a little while, a way to be able to figure out what your story is, what story you've been telling yourself, is to literally get a journal and just write down that question. What story have I been telling myself? You don't have to answer it right away, but just if you put it out there to yourself in black and white, it's kind of like, okay, now I got to answer it. So that was my story. I've had a hard life. So when I went back into my therapy session to see my therapist, she wanted me to bring my answer. And I brought her my answer, and she was like, wow, that's pretty profound. And I'm like, yeah, I agree with you. And I can honestly say I have had a hard life. And she said, now I've got to tell you something about this. She said, did you know that you have the ability to change your story if you want to? And I had to pause for a moment and went, no, I wasn't aware of that. And she said, well, you get to change your story. And I was like, okay, well, that's great news, because I don't want to have a hard life anymore. And she said, you don't have to. Change your state of mind and you will change your life. So, my next assignment, homework after that session, was to actually go home and sit down and write down a new story. And when I got home that evening and I finally had an opportunity after the kids went to bed to sit down and actually start to journal, I realized in that moment that there are infinite possibilities to the story that I get to create. And I started to feel a little overwhelmed, but then I went, no, you know what, Chris? Let's just make it simplistic. Let's just start simple. I realized I get to change my story today. I can change it tomorrow. I can change it in 6 months. I can change it in a year. But right now, in this moment, what new story do you want to tell yourself? So I sat down with my pen and my journal and I went, all right, I have an abundant, fun, creative, playful life! Exclamation point. And it's right here. I wrote it right here. It's like literally right there. And when I wrote it down, I actually felt lighter. I felt a little freer. And I thought, it's probably not going to last. Like getting education is one thing, but I realized too, with a lot of therapy in my life, that you can educate yourself, you can sit and you can change your story, but immersion creates the ability to change your state. So I had to immerse myself into believing that. So the next morning I woke up, my journal book was beside my coffee mug for coffee in the morning, and I literally, while I was drinking my coffee that morning, sat down and read it and said, you know what? I get to have a fun, creative, abundant, playful life today. And you want to know something? It happened. Sure, I went back to my hard story. Oh, I've had a hard life. But it was like, state of mind, slap that out of there. Not that you physically want to hurt yourself, but you have to. Science has proven that it takes 14 days to change the neurons in your brain, which changes the thought process. So if it's going to take 14 days for you to change your story. So this week's tool in Kimona Therapy is change your story and change your life. And if you've been telling yourself a story that is not positive, or if you haven't even asked yourself what story it is that you've been telling yourself, and you kind of notice in your life things aren't going according to the way you would probably thought, this might be a really good exercise for you to try. So this week's Kimona Therapy tool is change your story, change your life. And I'm sharing it because someone shared it with me and it changed my life for the better. And I'm sharing it because I want it to change your life as well. We have the ability to manifest our reality. We have the ability to change our reality. And it literally, and this is the big secret, that I learned in all the years of self-development and growth and psychotherapy that I've done is if you can't change your state of mind, you can't change anything. That was a little knowledge gold nugget that I received a long time ago. And I'm sharing it with you now because you need to change your state to change your reality. And that's, again, why I'm sharing this. So this is the first little tool that I'm sharing. And if you want more information, or if you need a little bit of help digging into your old story, please don't hesitate to contact me through direct message, and I'll definitely get back to you because I'm here to serve. And I hope this helps you guys. There'll be another video coming next week, next Monday, and I'm not going to tell you what that one is about. Let's go through this one first and process it. If you're into self-development and growth, I'm going to be giving you weekly tips to grow on your journey. Things that I've learned and done and have applied and work to my benefit, and that they will benefit you as well. All right. Have a great rest of the week. I will see you next week.